Hello there. Welcome to this episode. In this episode, I want to share with you of the 5 steps to creating your financial independence. Now, before we dive into the 5 steps, I want to talk about, first of all, what does it mean to have financial independence and why it matters? Okay, so first of all, financial independence, in my definition at least, there are 2 aspects to it. One is the from a monetary perspective, and that you're probably familiar with, is when you achieve a certain level of financial abundance, that you can live the life that you want on your terms, and that you are no longer working for money. Right? You're not just exchanging your time for dollars or any other currency. You could be working and making money, but it's for the pure enjoyment and your purpose in your life. You are not working for money anymore. Okay, so that's the first definition of financial independence from a monetary perspective. Now, the second aspect to that is independent from another person. This point is particularly important for women because for centuries, girls growing up are being taught that we are, responsible for taking care of the family. That is our role in the society. And then for the boys growing up, it is their job to go out, make money, take care of the family financially. And so what that means is that girls growing up into women and then kind of taking on this identity of we need men to provide for us financially. Now, that may have worked in the past, but today's world, it no longer works. So we really need to let go of that concept for women and to really step into our own ownership of our own financial future. And so this aspect to me is even more important, especially again for women, is to not have to rely on another person to provide for you, that we trust that we have the capability to make it on our own, to live a life of our desire completely on our own. And this is not to say not to have any relationship. It's just consciously and subconsciously as an individual that we all have the capacity to be able to create financial success and live the life that we want on our own terms without relying on another person. Okay, so that is the definition of financial independence, and then also why is it important and why I am making this episode to talk about it, because it's relevant for all of us today in this world. So let's talk about step number 1 to creating your financial independence. This step is all about knowing yourself. Think about it. If you want to create financial independence, you want to make sure you have a very healthy, solid relationship to money. Because if you don't, then self-sabotage will kick in at some point that will block you from achieving the financial goals that you want to have. And so this step is all about you exploring what is your current relationship to money. Are you fearful around money? Are you always fearful about making financial decisions? Or do you always fear that you would run out of money, right? Or maybe you're someone who is excited about money. You're very active. You are positive on the outlook of what might be coming in your way, and you're excited to get involved with money. So that's a very strong relationship, close relationship to money, right? Or you may be someone who may have some resentment, and maybe at the subconscious level that there's this idea that money is evil, and that you may not be want to perceived as someone who's greedy or evil if you had more money. Right. And so, whatever that may be, whatever your current relationship may be, remember that there's no judgment here, but we also have to be honest with ourselves about our current relationship to money. And if there's something that's negative in our relationship with money, then we do need to work on how can we reframe and turn that into a positive, because we want to make sure we have a very, very solid foundation for creating financial independence in your life. And so knowing your current relationship, and then also knowing what are the areas, what are some of the things you may want to reframe to move yourself, to move your relationship into a positive space. That is absolutely crucial. All right. So this is the first step to creating financial independence is know yourself. So now let's talk about step number 2. And this step is about knowing what you really, really want. Now, most people will probably be very quick in telling you what they don't want. But many people actually struggle with articulating what they really want in life. And things that I hear oftentimes are, I just want to have enough money to live the life that I want. But how much is that really mean? What is that enough money? Is it $1 million? Is it 10 million? Or is it 100 million to support the life that I want? So what does that life look like? And so I think for a lot of us here, living in this world, fast paced, we don't take the time to actually sit down and take a step back and to get really clear about what we want. So this step is about working through your desires, because sometimes as you go through the details, you may realize, oh, well, maybe I don't really want that. I thought I did, but now that I think about it more, I don't really want that, right? So going through the process is also a filtering process, when you get down to the detail level. So this process is also not just about money. It's not just about how much is enough for you, right? That's the one thing you do have to get clear is when you say, I just want to have enough money. So then how much is enough, right? So you have to get clear about that. But the way to get clear about that is to actually look at all of the areas in your life. So that includes your personal area, and the personal area could include physical, emotional, and then your career, your business. What kind of career or business you want to have, and that makes you fulfilled, and that makes you satisfied for your contribution to the community, to the family, to the world, whatever that may be, right? So that's another aspect of your life. And then spiritual, what is your spiritual journey, and what would that look like? And then another area is more like lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle do you want to live? I know a lot of people, including myself, travel is a big part of the lifestyle that I want. And so if travel is something you want, then you need to go deeper and say, okay, so how many trips do I want to take? And when I travel, do I like to travel first class, or do I like to travel backpacking? I don't really care about the fancy stuff. I'm really, into being close to nature. I love camping, whatever that may be, right? The more clear you can get, then the more knowledge you will have in terms of the financial amount of money that you would need to support that type of lifestyle, right? And then also relationships, that's another area in your life where what kind of relationship you want to have with your family, with your friends, because that could mean maybe you need to have some gatherings with your family and friends every so often in the year, or maybe again, you need to travel to some place for that particular purpose. So the whole point is take the time to go through the exercise of asking yourself, what does that ideal life look like for me? And you can start by thinking, if I had all the money in the world, if money was not an issue, what would that life look like? Break it down in the different areas of your life. And then you work backwards and say, okay, to support that level of lifestyle that I want, how much would that be? And that will tell you how much is enough for you, right? Because if you don't know those numbers, then I see a lot of people, they're just working hard all the time. They're in this hamster wheel, always thinking to themselves, I don't have enough. I need to make more so I can have more security. The problem is they never know how much is enough. And so they end up working for their entire life, feeling never enough. Okay, so this step is also a very, very crucial step in building financial independence for you, because for everyone, that picture is going to be very different. For one person, 1 million may be enough to create financial independence for this person for the rest of his life or her life. And maybe another person, it could be 10 million, it could be 100 million, right? And it is all about finding what is your number. All right. Okay. I hope that's helpful. Now let's talk about step number 3 to creating your financial independence. This step is all about knowing your numbers and get real with your numbers. Now, there are 3 key pillars to personal finance: income, expenses, and savings/investments. And when people are struggling with money or feeling insecure about their financial future, there's one common characteristics of those people who are having these experiences is the fact that they are not very clear on their numbers. And it could be a result of a number of factors. And number one could be they just never built the practice of always paying attention to their numbers. It could also be something that we talked about earlier in their relationship to money, that maybe there's fear around money, that they're just not comfortable looking at the numbers. They're fearful to looking at their numbers. Or maybe it could be more like a denial, because they actually deep down, they know what the numbers are approximately, but they don't want to look at it because they don't feel good about the numbers that they currently have. But the problem with this avoidance is that it never fixes itself. It actually only gets worse and worse the longer that you avoid and being in denial with your numbers, right? So this step is all about getting clear with your numbers. And so it's really being very clear about your current income, and then also your spending habits, your spending patterns. Are your spending in alignment with your values? And so some people call it the budgeting process. I like to also call it the spending plan, because sometimes people don't like to hear the word budget. You can create whatever name that you want that works for you, but the idea is to be able to plan for what you're going to spend or how you're going to spend your resource, because money is a resource, how you're going to spend it, and then also have the practice of tracking it so that you know you have a plan and you're also following your plan, right? So it's this practice of planning and then tracking, and that's what's going to give you clear data on whether your spending is in alignment with your goals and values and your overall financial situation. And then the last part is about savings and investing. Savings is the first part, because you have to have savings in order to have money to invest. But ultimately, it's really about your investments. And so in the area of your investment, a lot of people that I talk to, they have money in their investment account. Sometimes they manage it themselves, which also is equivalent to not managing and not doing anything. It's just kind of sitting there. And sometimes people have financial advisors. But even when they do, they don't necessarily know what's going on in that account, because they've let go that responsibility completely to the financial advisor. And so again, in their relationship with money, there's a disconnect. They have actually disconnected themselves from their investment accounts and relying on their professional advisor to help them. And that in itself, energetically, you're not stepping up, owning your money, and you're not owning the growing of your money. And so that's another area where I see a lot of improvements could be made for many people who are trying to create financial independence, but yet they seem to be stuck and can't get there. And this is one of the reasons, is because they don't want to do it. They're completely disconnected from their numbers. And so when you get real with your numbers, and even if it's sometimes, or at this point, it's not what you like to look at, but also remember, you cannot improve what you don't measure. So if you want to have better outcome, if you want to have better future, you have to start tracking, measuring, and then over that process, over time, you can start improving and build on it and build on it. And eventually you want to get to a point where you have your money work for you as opposed to you work for money. All right. But all of this is predicated on you being the owner of your money and also being very, very clear with what your numbers are. All right. I hope this is helpful. And this is a third step to creating your financial independence. It's about knowing your numbers. Now let's talk about step number 4 to creating your financial independence. In this step, we are going to build a bridge. This bridge is based on knowing who you are and knowing where you are today by knowing your numbers. Where are you financially today? And then also where you want to be. And so now for the fourth step is about building this bridge from today to the future. And so we build this bridge by creating strategies and action plans that will move you in the direction of where you want to go. And so let's break it down a little bit. Well, again, it goes back to the 3 pillars of personal finance. And so as part of this process of strategizing and creating action plans, it's look at your income, your expenses, and your investment area, and look at where do you need to work on the most. And for some people, maybe you are making a lot of money, but you haven't been paying a lot of attention to expenses. So there's also a lot of money going out. So the net result is that you don't have too much money left over for investing. And if that's you, then we know that we need to work on the expense part. How can we modify your spending pattern so that there's more money left over to put into investing? Or you may be someone who are making good income and are very watchful in your spending, and you do have a lot of money accumulating from month to month, but then that's it. Like you haven't really done much with the money that you have saved up. Now, one of the things I always say is that we can't save fast enough to keep up with inflation. And so if you want financial freedom and financial independence, you have to learn how to have money work for you so that you don't have to work for money until, the very end. And so if that's you, then the area that you need to work on is really looking at how can I play a bigger role in making sure that my money is well invested and grow on my behalf and help me to move in the direction that I want to be. And this could be a combination of you learning how to invest money or you looking for a financial advisor and professional to help you do it. But it's also that work is a partnership. It's not just I find someone, here's the money, you go take care of it. It's actually finding a financial advisor, professional investment advisor to be on your team and that you two work closely together and work towards that goal. Okay. So that's another category of people out there that, if you look at the 3 pillars where you might need to do some work, or you're someone who's right now just not making a lot of money right now. And so everything just seems very difficult. And if that's really the situation that you're in right now, or maybe you're young, you're just starting, then I would say the biggest focus is on generating income, because everything starts with income. Without income, we can't really do the other things. Now, when I talk about income doesn't have to just come from a job, right? You could have a job and do some side hustle, or maybe you already have a business. Then it's about how can I create income in my business? Or maybe maybe I should review my business finance and see if I'm most efficient in the way that I'm allocating the resources in my business, whatever that may be. And then, if you're someone who already has some investment on the side, maybe you can look at how your money is being invested. Are there other ways to create more returns for your investment? So there's a combination of things that we can do, and there's no one right answer. The right answer is based on you and your circumstances. And this is why it's also another reason why it is so important for you to do the work yourself, to know what is the right work for you, as opposed to you following, copying someone else's, whatever they're doing, you're following, you're copying, because their financial situation is not the same as yours. So when you copy someone, you may not get the results that they're getting. Or even if you do get the same results, it may not at the end make the difference in moving you towards the direction that you want to go, because where you want to go may be very different from where that person wants to go. Okay, so this is another reason why it's so important to take back the ownership of our money, our finance, and then also in creating our own financial future. All right, so this is step number 4. It's all about building that bridge, creating strategies, and creating action plans to now move you from here, where you are today, and into where you want to be, where you're living your dream life. Now let's talk about the last step, step number 5, to creating your financial independence. This step is all about creating systems and environments to ensure your long-term success. And when I talk about creating financial independence, I'm also talking about sustainable wealth. I don't mean the quick burst of get rich and then people think, oh, I can retire now. But then they don't do the other work and they don't have anything in place. And they're just spending, happy, enjoying their life, only to find themselves in a few years, oh, I'm back to square one again, right? So that is not sustainable wealth. That is not true financial independence. So in order to create true sustainable financial independence, we do need to have structure. We do need to have system in place to making sure to keep you on track, to making sure you keep moving in the directions that you want to be. And so that is a combination of things. One is creating habits in your own life that you are regularly checking your progress, right? So that could be, on a monthly basis, checking your statements, checking your accounts, in all of those 3 areas again: income, expense, and investments. Are you on track based on your goals and the action plans that you've set for yourself? It is also a process of creating a team around you to support you. So that could mean creating a team with maybe a bookkeeper, maybe an accountant, CPA, or maybe a financial advisor, maybe a estate planning attorney, or maybe a financial coach. And these are the people who that you will be talking to on a regular basis. And depending on the help that you need, it could be either on the monthly basis or every 6 months or maybe once a year. And also making sure all of them are aware of each other and that they are also working as a whole team to support you. Think about this. For the ultra rich people, they have family offices. What does a family office do? It is exactly what I described. They have people that cover different aspect of their life to making sure to protect their wealth, to preserve their wealth, and keep growing their wealth. You can do the same for yourself. The concept is the same, right? And so instead of hiring a family office to do all that for you, you can do it yourself by finding the people yourself and creating that team around you and to ensure your long-term success. Okay, so this is the very last step, and I hope this whole conversation is helpful to you. And if you have any questions about how to carry out these specific steps, reach out to me and I will be happy to have a conversation with you about that. All right, until next time.